Warrior Cats is a massively popular book series, so it's not surprising that you can find a few references to these books in very random places. Today we're going to be looking at the most popular media out there to reference Warrior Cats. Some of them definitely surprised me. Huge credit to Dawn Wing for writing this article on TV tropes. That was such a huge help for the research in this video. She actually has a Warrior Cats YouTube channel of her own. I'll leave a link to it in the description. So let's get started. There are a couple instances of Warrior Cats books showing up in the sets for live action TV shows and movies, but I won't be putting too much focus on any of those because these references feel very unintentional. Like the set designers just needed books, and Warrior Cats just happened to be among the closest books they could grab. Here is Eclipse in Long Shadows in Law and Order. See how Long Shadows is put on the shelf upside down? The disrespect is blatant. A copy of The Darkest Hour shows up in an episode of The Middle, and Firestar's Quest in Love, Simon. It is hilarious that the movie Love, Simon had better results of putting Firestar on the big screen than the Warrior Cats team has done in the past 7 years since announcing the movie. Thanks, Love, Simon. Anyway, I'll be going through the rest of these references in chronological order, starting with Coraline. No, there is not a reference in the Coraline movie. We are talking about a different adaptation of the original book, that being the Coraline graphic novel. It's towards the beginning. It reads, "She had watched all the videos, she was bored with her toys, and she'd read all her books." There it is, Into the Wild, a very simple little cameo for the iconic book cover. What's extra fun about this one is that Into the Wild was only 5 years old at this point, so this might be the oldest Warrior Cats reference in popular media. The Witch and Wizard series by James Patterson has a dystopian setting, and at the end of each book they show a list of books and celebrities banned by the government in their universe, all of which are references to real-world books and celebrities. In the second book, The Gift, the list includes The Brawlers as a banned book series, which is an obvious reference to Warriors that just replaces cats with dogs, saying sentient dogs are seeking to fulfill a prophecy. And the timing is funny because Survivors would release 5 months later. Pretty Little Liars, specifically the episode Run, Allie, Run from 2014. This one might be the most confusing to me. I only knew the episode number, so I had to watch the whole thing to find the quote. And wow, jumping into episode 101 of a TV drama with no prior knowledge of the show's plot, it's a lot to take in. But what I picked up is that there's this anonymous stalker character who goes by the alias of A, who is set on tormenting the main character Allison to the point of murder. And A communicates with silly, scary text messages. And this other main character, Arya, says this.
"For 2 years, A's been hunting you down like a warrior cat."
This baffles me. Because 1, I watched the whole episode, and this was the only pop culture reference I remember. And 2, it doesn't even make sense as a reference. Warriors books aren't known for having plots about stalkers, so the only connection is just that cats hunt prey, which at that point, she could have just said cat, and it would have made so much more sense. If I know Warrior Cats, and I don't understand this reference, it's going way over the heads of everyone else. We Bare Bears. This one is very interesting because we can't actually say for certain whether this is a true reference or just a funny coincidence. But basically, in one episode the bears invite a cat into their home, and when thinking of names for the cat, this happens.
How about Tiger Claw?
Sounds a bit too evil.
So Panda says Tiger Claw sounds like an evil name, and Tiger Claw is a villain in Warrior Cats. We can't confirm 100% if this was intentional, because Tiger Claw is just generic enough that they could have thought of the joke without knowing the character, but I want to believe one of the writers knew what they were doing when they snuck this joke into the show. Okay, so this is by far the most elaborate Warrior Cats reference I found. It comes from Hiveswap Friend Sim, a 2018 spin-off visual novel game for the webcomic series Homestuck. If you want me to explain what Homestuck is, I am so sorry, I never got into it. But this crossover does feel fitting, because both have a huge internet fandom. If you were on the internet in the early 2010s, chances are you came across both. Fair warning, this franchise does have a lot of swearing and violence, but I won't be showing any of that in this video. I will just be showing the Warrior Cats reference. In Volume 15 of Hiveswap Friend Sim, you become friends with a character named Wanshi, and you learn that she writes fanfics for a series called Soldier Purbeasts, an obvious parody of Warrior Cats. Later in the story, she offers to roleplay with you, naming you Twinklepaw of Spacecast, while she is Wild Wisp of Solar Glare Clan. The scenario being you accidentally scare away her prey while she is hunting. And then at the end, she gifts you a copy of a Soldier Purbeast book, so you can be more informed about the universe for your next visit. The cover of the book having a striking resemblance to the cover of Warriors The Darkest Hour. Overall, it's just a cute and good-humored poke at nerd culture, and how silly Warrior Cats sounds from an outside perspective. Mystic Messenger is a very popular dating sim game for mobile devices, over 5 million downloads on Google Play. It was absolutely huge back in 2016, and still has fans to this day. But I'm not here to talk about this game. I'm here to talk about version 1.18.1, released around early 2022, where the loading screen shows the character Yusung with the main character in a library. And if you look at those books, yeah, it's Warrior Cats. We got some super editions, Prophecies Begin, Dawn of Clans, New Prophecy. Either the person who drew this was a Warrior Cats fan, or they referenced a photo from a library that had a lot of Warrior Cats books. From the looks of it, this library must have very clean dishes, because they sure do have a lot of Dawn. Get it? 'Cause Dawn. Yeah, I think that's the worst joke I've ever told in this channel. In October of 2022, the official Garfield social media accounts, including Instagram and Twitter, made 3 Garfield crossover artworks, and one of them was Warrior Cats themed. A Garfield version of Into the Wild, replacing Warriors with Hungry Cats, and Into the Wild with Into the Sauce, and added a tagline, "One whole lasagna, one cat." On one hand, this is just a single social media post, so it doesn't feel as high of a commitment as the other references in this video. But on the other hand, it's Garfield, one of the most recognizable fictional characters of all time, referencing Warrior Cats. It's just hard to process that this is a thing that happened. World of Warcraft. This one by far impressed me the most. The very reason I am making this video. I am shocked I didn't know about this sooner. World of Warcraft, the hugely popular MMO game, has Warrior Cats in it. And not just a cute piece of dialogue or art that references it. The actual cats from the books are in the game. That's Silverstream right there. On November 28th, 2022, World of Warcraft launched the Dragonflight expansion. In this expansion is the location of Honoran Plains. There are cat NPCs that spawn, and some of these NPCs have very familiar names. Fireheart, Talltail, Silverstream, Yellowfang, and Tigerclaw. Each character's pelt colors matching their respective warrior cat. Silverstream even spawns near water, and Yellowfang spawns next to the herbalism trainer. Whatever team was developing this, they had a Warrior Cats fan among their ranks. I've never played World of Warcraft, and now I suddenly want to. Not to actually play the game, just to find these cats. This is so cool. And finally, Disney has referenced Warrior Cats, with their currently running cartoon, The Ghost and Molly McGee. Unfortunately not in a main episode, but in a short promotional animation they posted on their YouTube channel. This one is a non-canon theme song takeover about one of the characters, Libby. In the short's opening moments, Libby is holding a book titled Defender Felines, an obvious spoof on Warrior Cats, complete with what looks like Firestar and a StarClan spirit. There's even a fire in the corner, to further tease that it's a parody of Firestar. Considering how many skilled animators are in the Warrior Cats fandom, my guess is one of them got a job for Disney and worked on this. So those are all the references I had from properties that I considered major enough for the video. Let me know what your favorite one was in the comments. Also, if there is a Warrior Cats reference you know of that I didn't mention, by all means tell me. Alright, bye everyone.